I don't have a good relationship with it, and I need to eliminate that.
Hmm.
Eliminate it. Otherwise, it's gonna be like trying to run in one direction towards the finish line, but always having something pulling you. You might make it, but what the reality is, you're gonna be so exhausted from fighting, you're gonna mess up and collapse.
Hi, this is Shelomo Solson, the host of the Teenage Impact Podcast, where we share stories, tips, and specific strategies on how you, as a teenage kid, can overcome any struggles in your life. Whether you're going through anxiety, depression, relationship issues, being bullied at school, I have interviewed over 55 people from around the world on what they've gone through, how they overcame specific struggles, and how you can too. I have an announcement to make. I have finally released my powerful and life-changing online program, Building Resilience 101. Now, I understand as you, as a teenager, go through a lot of unnecessary stress, frustration, and challenges. I was there. I was bullied for 15 years. I lacked confidence. I always got laughed at. I wasn't good at anything, and I felt lost for a majority of my teenage years. Well, you don't have to go through the same challenges I did, which is why I came out with Building Resilience 101, which is a powerful and effective instructional video online course for teenage kids. Now, I've broken it down into 3 sections and 8 modules. It's going to help you find your life purpose. It's going to help you manage your emotions when going through these rough times. And it's going to help you overcome whatever struggle that you're going through in life. I also include 3 bonuses. The first bonus is a bonus module on how you can monetize your passion. The second bonus is a monthly Q&A with me. You can ask whatever you want to in the realm of your course. And the third bonus is a private Facebook community with other teen resilient warriors who are taking this online program so you can network with each other and get ahead together. I want to give you 50% off of this course since it's a brand new course. And this 50% off is effective until the end of May. If you're interested in receiving 50% off, I want you to go ahead, DM me on Instagram at Shelomo Solson, and the handle name is in the description. Today's podcast guest is Ed Latimore. Ed, it was introduced to me by one of my good friends, Arman Chaudhry, who was also the first guest on this podcast. Ed Latimore is a successful entrepreneur, has a powerful brand with over 100,000 Twitter followers, and teaches hardcore life lessons from being raised in the projects, from not fitting in, to his alcohol problem, to going into college and then dropping out, to being in boxing, to going back into college at the age of 29, and then building his successful brand that he teaches and inspires people from all around the world. And he's also the author of multiple books. In this podcast episode, we're going to not only talk about Ed Latimore's story, but he's going to talk about how you can create success from limited resources and money, just like he did. So give it up for Ed Latimore. Ed, thank you so much for joining in on this interview. I know you're tuning in from Pittsburgh. How's your weekend going?
It's a pretty good weekend so far. It's Saturday morning, and I already got up and got a little workout and got some work done. Nothing too unique about my weekends relative to my weekdays,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, now you're known as this successful entrepreneur. I know we have a couple mutual friends, and you have a huge brand. You're a successful entrepreneur. Before that, you were a professional boxer, and then you went to college at the age of 29, studied physics. But I want to know a little bit about your childhood and how you were raised as a teenage kid.
Yeah, I think my childhood is full of a lot of the things you would think when you think about someone who grows up in like a low income, high crime area, which is what I did. I grew up in a public housing project, and yeah, with by a single mom and all that kind of thing. That was life. So you learn really quickly how to take care of yourself, and depending on your personality and lean, you become friendly or antagonistic. I learned really quickly that allies are better for you than enemies. So If I learned how to, make friends and be relatively likable, I still was pretty much an outcast until I got to high school. In high
Hmm.
school, I was around a very different group of people, and I was able to express myself more, and that had a pretty good effect on me. I got to meet a lot of people who are my friends today, but I also got to see a very different way of living a life, something I wasn't accustomed to and didn't know anything about until I got to these places, and I had I didn't know that you know everyone I knew was on the free lunch before I got to high school, and I didn't even know you could pay for it if your family made a certain amount of money, for example, little things like that. But uh, it was a challenging childhood, but it was it's what I had to go through. It's
Hmm.
how it is.
Hmm. And I know you were mentioning this before we started the podcast interview, that you went to a different high school and you're very fortunate to go to a really good high school. What were some of the challenges of trying to accustom who you are as a person and individual to fit in with certain friend groups?
Well, that's already very hard for a kid, right?
Hmm.
I think that's probably like the hardest thing that the kids go through is figuring out their identity. And for me, I mean, I had my tendencies and my personality from where I came from compared to who and what I was trying to become
Hmm.
there, and it was different. It wasn't. I mean, the challenges are. I'm trying to think of a good analogy. I mean, it was like being transported to a foreign land in many ways. I mean, you think and act one way your whole life, and yeah, it's not really that. I mean, I had enough awareness. I had enough awareness to at least select a different high school to go to, but when you get there, it's really different. You realize that there are no the common experiences. For example, there were not many people with the same type of experiences that I had,
Hmm.
and that was really interesting to me. I remember talking to a kid once, and I was like, "Oh, you never had a fight? Oh, you never been in a fight before? That's weird." Like I thought that was like a normal, just for a little part of life. And they were like, "No, no, why would I be in a fight? What's wrong with you?" Like that kind of thing.
So you asked a kid that, and he's never been in a fight.
Yeah, yeah, that was a foreign concept to him. Being in a fist fight. And
Yeah,
meanwhile, that was just a regular thing for me.
I went to a middle school actually, and literally like every week there was a fist fight.
Yeah, and you don't realize how not normal that is until you
Uh-huh.
go to a place where that's not like, because that's all I knew was like people disrupting class and behavior issues and fights and problems, and there was none of that when I got to the school I ended up going to.
Hmm. When when you were surrounded by the fist fights and the yelling and disruption of class, how were you able to deal with it?
I wasn't. That
Yeah.
was very. You just kind of, I try to ignore it, but one of the things that I had a really big problem when I got to high school, I was so dreadfully behind in math because the math classes were always like, I was a smart kid, but I just couldn't catch up, man. It was hard. Um, that's one of those things, you think you think you're smart, and then you get around people and you're like, oh, maybe there's some stuff I didn't
Hmm.
learn and I didn't get because I didn't have that education.
Hmm. Did you ever see yourself, hey, you know what? I'm going to college and I'm going to escape on this certain lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, that was always a plan for me. I figured that was my way out, and I'm really happy that I had the wherewithal to kind of put that plan in motion because a lot of people don't.
Hmm.
And I'd seen it with family and friends. It's not a guarantee that you're going to. College is really easy to go to now, like super easy. It's not even. It doesn't really even mean anything if you don't study the right things. But so for me, what was really important though, and I didn't know this then, but it was still a different environment though. I just wanted to be in a different environment. That was like what was important to me, like supremely important, was to end up around different people in a different place and all that kind of thing. And, well, and when I say different, I don't mean the people I went to high school with. Those people were fine. I mean, where I lived, because I still lived in the hood. Like that didn't go away. You know,
Hmm.
that was still a big part of my identity and how I thought. But I knew I needed to get away from it. I knew I didn't want to have that as part of who I was. I knew that much.
Okay, so you said you lived in the hood, but you always had a goal in mind to go to college and get a different lifestyle. What would you say is the best way to get out of that specific environment and achieve success in life?
There are a lot of ways. I don't know if I'd say one is any better or worse. I'd say the average person is not going to be good at basketball or sports
Hmm.
or performance, because these are all things that can elevate you. I mean, traditionally across all societies, the ability to perform and entertain or compete has always been one of those things that has elevated you. What has changed recently is in human history is that if you can do a little hard work, you can pull yourself out by getting a good job or getting opportunities to study someplace. But really, I don't know if I'd say there's any one way that's best, depending on the person. But I can say that you want to make sure you leave all options on the table, and the quickest way to take options off the table is to get arrested, or to knock somebody up, or have a kid. You remove a lot, and you set yourself back when you get involved with the law. Or you're reckless with your sexual
Hmm.
decisions. And fortunately for me, I never had those issues, and that probably left a lot of things on the table for me to help me make progress in my life.
While growing up, some people are very fortunate to be brought up in a very good family or environment. Some people are not. How true do you think it is for people who say that, hey, you have a choice? Everyone has the same amount of opportunity as other people do. How true do you believe that is, and why?
I think in our day and age now, with the internet and how easy it is to learn and connect with anyone, I think that there is certainly, I think it's never been easier. With that said, what you grow up around and what you know from birth is very powerful. I've seen, like I've had to come to the conclusion that how I've turned out, I'm very much an anomaly for most of the people in my family, from everywhere from going to college to income to not being arrested. I mean, there's a lot, and it's not like I was raised in any place different. Maybe where I went to high school was different, but even that is not that different. Like it was a good school, but it wasn't a private school or anything like that. So I can look at me in one of two ways. I can go, okay, I'm some type of superhuman who just got super lucky, or I made the right decisions and I was able to overcome my upbringing. I think that it's a little bit of both, and that first point of me bringing that scenario up, me possibly in some type of like super anomaly freak, is that you're no one else in my family in the same circumstance, and a lot of people I know, they have not done what is done. I've done. I know that there is a lot of power in how you're brought up and what you're brought up around. I know that like that's not going to like no one will ever convince me that you just it's all on you, right? with that said, I think that we all come out with certain pluses and cons, certain advantages and disadvantages. And there are some disadvantages you have to work on. Otherwise they're going to ruin you. And I think I recognize that at different points in my life and made the right kind of decision, put the right kind of work in so that I could overcome the worst parts of my personality, the worst parts of my upbringing, a lot of my habits. I understand that while those were present, I still had to do the work to not have them be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, man. And on top of that, I think it depends on the person. I always talk about the difference between my sister and I. We were raised under the same roof, but turned out fairly differently. And I say that my mom got a really she got lucky and she got unlucky. She got lucky in the sense that I was first, and I think you could have dropped me in a slum
Mm-hmm.
in India, and I'd have figured something out. I just like because I've always been kind of figuring things out, and really had this kind of sense about the world. I think my sister needed more guidance, but she didn't get it because my mom was not that great at this kind of thing, but it's not really her fault. You get two different kids, and one kind of sets the tone for the other, and you look and go, okay, this one figured it out. This one will hopefully figure it out too, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not that way. So I mean, I've just seen too much to know that it's a complicated answer, but I think they both have a role, and that role depends on the person.
And I really do believe, I say this all the time, it all starts with a decision. You can be doing, suppose you have a goal in mind and you going after that goal and you're not achieving that goal. But for me, I think there's a mental barrier that people have, that they really haven't decided that they're going to achieve that goal. And that's why they keep trying to pursue that goal and then they don't achieve. But as soon as you decide that you're going to do whatever it takes, you break that mental barrier and say, you know what, I'm capable of doing this. For example, I mean, G. Bryant, the guy I interviewed, he was born and raised in Philly, and he was at a point where he almost got arrested, killed. He had, friends getting killed and arrested. So he made a decision to move to Atlanta. He made a
Yeah,
decision to be successful. And of course, it wasn't that easy. There were so many different aspects and barriers in his way. But at a time, it all starts with a decision that you're going to make something of your life. And once you make that decision, that's probably the hardest part. And everything else will slowly come your way through the law of attraction, because now you're seeking out that particular goal, or you trying to overcome that specific challenge.
yeah, I 100% agree. They're like keystone decisions. You make one, and then that one makes another one kind of show up, and more importantly, it eliminates a whole host of other bad decisions you could have made, and so you don't even get close to risking things. And that's a good way to look at it. Like I look at it when I talk about my decision to stop drinking. When I did that, I eliminated a whole slew of other decisions that would put me in a bad spot because they would all stem from alcohol. So
Mm-hmm.
once I got that under control, 99% of any bad decisions I could make, they were kind of eliminated because I recognized that they were all made under the influence. So I took care of that one key habit. And it sounds like what the guy did is he recognized that the greatest risk to his future was being where he was at.
Mm-hmm.
And so
And
by changing that location, he eliminated a whole slew of other negative things that could occur because they were all going to be based on his location. So by changing that one thing, you just dramatically increase your chances of success when you recognize that one thing you need to change.
yeah, I know on your Twitter, sometimes you talk about overcoming your alcohol addiction. But when did that start? Did that start in high school or did that start post
No,
college?
no, you know what's funny? I don't think no, I didn't have my first drink till I was like 18. Nah, I wasn't one of those kids, man. But as I grew, one of the hallmarks of my personality is there's not really a middle switch. That for better or worse, I really think one of the things that's helped me so far is the better and really taking it to be the better part and using it. But when it was the worst, when I was the alcohol is where that came in. So it really became the focus of a lot of my activities and my decisions, and then I didn't like how it made me behave and everything, and I just had to accept that I don't have a good relationship with it, and I need to eliminate that.
Mm-hmm.
Eliminate it. Otherwise, it's gonna be like trying to run in one direction towards the finish line, but always having something pulling you. You might make it, but what the reality is, you're gonna be so exhausted from fighting, you're gonna mess up and collapse. And I didn't want that to happen. I think I'm so grateful every day that it never got as bad as it could have because I was smart enough to step away.
Mm-hmm. And now you're going off to college at 18, right? You went off to college at 18?
Yeah, my first attempt at college was 18. It wasn't
Uh-huh.
wasn't wasn't ready.
Why do you think college wasn't for you back then?
I didn't know why I was there. It just seemed like the natural conclusion or natural continuation. There was nothing that really made me want to be there. And on top of that, I didn't have the emotional maturity whatsoever. I fell in real quick to the drinking and party culture and didn't do any work. It was more. I wasn't there for the right reasons when I first went.
Mm-hmm. And how can someone prepare themselves to go to college if they go at the age of 18? Because a lot of people go to college, including myself. I honestly didn't really know what I wanted to do until I graduated college, which is
Yeah.
weird because I kind of high school, middle school, I got straight A's all the time. But when college came along, I actually had my worst grades. How can someone prepare themselves at the age of 18, because there's going to be all this partying and drugs going around, to be successful in college and set them up to be successful for the rest of their life?
I first, man, I say don't go when you're 18. We have so much research now that points to something that we've kind of suspected, but now we know for sure, and that's the prefrontal cortex. That part of your brain that makes you kind of go, "This is a bad idea," and have some discipline and all that, and control and future planning. That does not finish fully forming until you're like 25. So, like, your mind can and likely will change about what you want to be and what you want to do at many points along the way. And on top of that, the way society is structured, it's not really going to bolster your best qualities, and you're going to take the easy way out in a lot of things. I think that kids should wait, man. Go do something. Go be somebody. Go get some experience in life, and then go to college. College is not the end all be all, and they've done a really good job of selling people on the fact that it is.
Mm-hmm.
So once you realize that that is not the case, try. One of the things I wish I had done, man. I was a fortunate situation. Well, for an unfortunate reason, my father died, and I got a bunch of life insurance money. I wish I had gone and traveled and learned another language or something, some other place, and just really, I would have been ahead in experiences in life, and I wasted because no one teaches you these things,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all good now because now I'm making great use of my time here on this planet. But I think 18 is too early, man. I mean unless you like for whatever reason really go learn and live, man. 4 years and all that money, they're never gonna be like, don't pay to come. You're too old. But like, no, come on in. So take your time and figure out what the best way is to enter the profession or
and
enter universities if that's for you.
and that's what you did at 29. You went back to study
Yeah.
physics. Yeah. But how did you get into boxing? How did that?
Uh, I was wasting a lot of time after I dropped out of college, and then when I was 18, and I said, you know what, I need to do something in my life. I wasn't doing anything, and boxing was like that thing. I said, okay, I can do this. I'm gonna try this out. Let me get some sweat equity somewhere. So I went and put in some self sweat equity and really started to learn and become somebody. Because boxing changed me, really, really, really helped me grow into a better person.
Hmm.
Um, really happy for my experiences with the sport. But that's how I ended up there. I mean, I felt like I didn't have any sweat equity anywhere in life.
What are some of the lessons you learned while in boxing that you wish you applied early on in life?
I really learned about, first of all, my mindset shifted from fixed to growth. I really
Hmm.
became convinced that I could learn anything, and that's a big reason why I was able to go to college successfully when I did. That I was convinced that I could learn anything. I learned that if you just put your mind to it and work, you can push through quite a bit of difficulty. It was really also good for my ability to kind of work with people and make friendships and get people to be willing to spend money and invest in me and come and see things that I would do, because remember, person, at least for where I live, you had to drive like an hour to come watch a fight. People gotta like you. You can't just be an a-hole. So I learned really how to sell and put myself out there, but still be nice and not be a pushover. That's really important. If you can
Hmm.
make people like you, man, you're gonna go really far in life. I think that.
Hmm. Why did you stop?
So if when I got injured, well, when I lost, and then I took some time off, and then I was coming back. I took a year off to go really, finish the hardest part of my degree, and and then I came back and I was training and got injured during training, and some things changed. It was funny. I can always tell if someone's ever fought, because fighters never ask why'd you stop. Like they take one look at my life and go, I get it, because boxing's a way out of, right, but it
Hmm.
is a miserable life. It is hard and it's painful, and you're injured and you're hurt all the time. It's rough, and you got to fight, and there's not much money at all. I make way more money writing and doing the internet than I ever would make fighting.
Hmm.
It's to the point now where I realistically make more than I'd make if I was a top contender, short of being a champion. It's not worth it. And to get there, it's so hard because everyone wants it. There's one champion, and everyone wants to get there, and it's very difficult. And a lot of these guys are hungry and want it more. And then I'm not that big for the weight class that I was in. That was another big thing. I said, how far can I realistically go versus the time and effort that I'm going to put in and the opportunity cost? And I said, you know what? I gave this sport, 12 good years of my life, and it changed me and it set me up for a lot of opportunities. But now I can sit and put together a program, put it out there, because I built this cloud up, and make 10 times what I'd make in a fight. Why would I put myself through that now? I just don't have to. I can stay in shape and be healthy other ways, and actually be healthy, not taking punches. Boxing's a rough life, man. Guys stick around because they kind of have to. Now, there's not a lot of guys who can just leave and go do something else. Kind of the way I have. A lot of guys stay in way longer than they should.
Hmm. And so now at 29, you go back to college for physics,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
And what's the story behind that?
Well, I originally wasn't going to go for physics. I was originally going to go for math, and I chose something with math because when I looked at the jobs that paid the most, they all had math involved. So I said, okay, let me figure out math, and because I went back because I felt like I needed some career options. I didn't have
Hmm.
those. Well, so I went and I was going to do math, and I enlisted in the army so I could get money for school, and then in the army, I ended up, but my MOS was a land combat electrician or something like that. but that forced me to take a lot of electronic theory and things like that. So I said, you know what I want to do? I want to be an electrical engineer. So I was going to become an electrical engineer. I started taking the classes for that. And as part of that, you have to take physics. And when I took physics, I said, oh, this is what I really want to do. This is interesting to me. I like this. I went in and took that path, and I was actually doing a double major. I was doing engineering, electrical engineering, and physics, and then I was like, you know, I really like this. I like this physics thing a lot more. Plus, I'm trying to get out of school because now I'm
Mhm.
making money online. I'm like, so I dropped the electrical engineering part and just went and did physics.
Okay, so you were actually building your brand while you were still in college.
And and still fighting, man. And I mean, I was doing a lot at the same
Wow.
time. I had to because I felt like I had wasted so much time. I needed to pull the rubber band in the other direction, and it snapped so far one way, and I was like, okay, I got to get on this. I got to fix a lot of my life.
You now, I think, have over 100,000 followers on Twitter. How did you get involved with that?
I said, okay, here's a thing that'll probably help me grow my website, and I can
Uh-huh.
reach out and communicate. I had no idea what turning to what it is now, which is this great tool for talking and communicating and making a living and connecting. It's great. I mean, and people see, oh, you have all these followers, and that is a direct result of how I interact with people. A lot of the lessons I learned from boxing, you just apply it
Mhm.
to the internet and go, oh, gotcha. This is how we can work on to interact with people here.
Yeah. But what can a high school student do? Whether they are in a good situation or a bad situation, whether they need a way out. For you, your brand, was you love doing it. You're making a lot of money doing it. Eventually, over time, while you were still in college, while you were still boxing, but you enjoy what you do. How can someone start their brand now from what they have, or if they don't have a lot of money and resources?
Oh, you mean like the way I started mine? No money and resources there. No, you just got to go do something, man. The benefit of being a millennial is we're the last generation where there was no social media when we were growing up,
Hmm.
right? There was everything was
MySpace.
yeah. MySpace didn't. When did MySpace? I think I was 20. The last MySpace I remember having been, it was like 22, right? It was
Hmm.
like after like there was the just wasn't there, right? And that meant that everything you were doing, you were doing it for you, man, and you knew you had to be big if you wanted someone to notice you and take notice. So a lot of my life and stories, it wasn't ever to really end up on social media per se. It was just because I was trying to find a way out, trying to make moves, trying to improve. Okay, people think you go start a personal brand. I said, like, no, man, you go do something in the world, and then you talk about it and kind of build a life and a bit of expertise around that.
That's powerful. Because a lot of people are trying to, I'm glad you said that because a lot of people are trying to build a personal brand, but your personal brand is so successful because of what you have gone through.
Yes, that's the key. Like if that's the secret sauce,
Uh-huh.
man. There I'm no one special in the sense that like I know something unique. I mean, I know a little bit, but like the main thing is that I have a life. I have a set of things.
Mhm.
People can go look me up. It's not like I'm a nobody. There's nothing there.
You have a new book out, correct? What's the book called?
Your new book is my newest book is Sober Letters to My Drunken Self.
Uh-huh.
But I released that in 2018, and I have some ebooks about growing on Twitter and writing.
Uh-huh.
But And then my original one was not caring what other people think is a superpower. The insights from a heavyweight boxer. I'm actually redoing that one because when I made it, talk about resources and everything. I had made no editing, no help, no nothing. I couldn't afford any of that. But that's the good thing. You go, you start, and you make moves, and, and,
Hmm.
and keep making progress. And that's what I did, and I had a pretty good run of success with it. Thank goodness. That's where we're at now. Those are the books I haven't released anything super new in the past few months, but hopefully the production value will be increased soon.
And but you also have a book, Why You Should Stop Caring About What Other People Think of You, correct?
Yeah, not caring what other people think is a superpower. Insights from a heavyweight boxer.
While you were going through all these different things, you were going to a new high school, you went to college, but then you kind of dropped out of college, joined the army, went back to college, building a personal brand. A lot of times, other people, including our friends and family, are going to put their judgment on you on what you should and shouldn't do. How do you block that out?
You remember the facts, man. You got to live your life.
Mhm.
That's it. I don't worry about anyone from friends, family, what they think, because I have to live my life and make sure I'm okay. I
Mhm.
mean, the more you're in my sphere of responsibility, the more I care what you think. I mean, I care a little what my girl thinks because she lives with me and is associated with me, so she'll be affected if I do something crazy. But I also understand that a lot of times I have to be. I think of myself as a leader, and when you do that, you make decisions like a leader, and making decisions like a leader means you can't worry about whether it's popular or not. When you're leading yourself, you're making those decisions based on what is best for you because you're
Mhm.
leading you. And when you have kids, that becomes a little different. But when I'm talking about that kind of decision, we're talking about the things. We're talking about dealing with things that are going to stifle your expression of self or chasing who you want to be and what you want to do. That is the way you get to that point is you just remember, man, your parents are going to die before you, and even if they don't, you got to live your life. Your friends ain't got to live your life. You're the one that has to be alive. That's one of the things I realized that helped me get sober. Is I was like, yo, man, this is my life. I'm the one that's going to be here.
You're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, so I don't really care what you think because at the end of the day, I have to live with everything I've done
Hmm.
and the consequences and the benefits. You take that attitude, it becomes very easy.
Hmm. And the last couple questions. Second and last question is, what is one action step someone could do right now to have a better life?
I mean, get in shape.
Get in
You,
shape.
you know, physical training is more about what it does to your mind than what it does to your body. If you can make yourself, if you can reduce your caloric intake and make sure you're training and everything, you've demonstrated that you have control and discipline over your base instincts and your base appetites. That can take you so far because a lot of what gets people in trouble is they give in to temptation one way or the
Mhm.
other, whether that be dealing with another person or dealing with themselves. If you can control yourself, you have a much greater chance of affecting change in your world.
Mhm.
And so that is why that is like super duper um, important to me. I just go, okay, let me make sure my body is correct because when I feel, and then when you look better and you feel better and it makes you perform better and you have more confidence in yourself and you show that you can change a thing. A lot of people come into this world with a fixed mindset, but physical training is one of the few things, if not the only thing, that you can do and see a real result that's going to have a long-term impact on you. A lot of things you can do in the short term that are not going to last long, but if you get your body fat low and you put some muscle on, that's going to make a really big difference immediately in how the world interacts with you.
And it's crazy you say that, because I went to a Tony Robbins seminar in Miami with 14,000 people. And he talks about this story, how he was living at a 400 square foot apartment. He was obese, well, not obese, but overweight, 20 pounds overweight. And he didn't have any money. He had eviction notices. And the first thing he did was he just kept running. He said, you know what, I'm going to get my body in shape, because that's one thing I do have control over. And then once he did that, that's how he started gaining control over
Yep.
getting control over the other aspects of his life, like his bank account, like being able to pay rent, his seminars, everything else.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. And one last question. I end every interview with this question. What does resiliency mean to you?
The ability to persist in against obstacles or in the face of uncertainty towards something you want.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, like, if you get, and more importantly, I think then in the face of uncertainty is like a legitimate setback. If you get hit with a legitimate setback or failure, you get hurt, injured, whatever, sidetracked, they really go, okay, this is just the temper. This is a small minimum. It's not the absolute minimum. You're going to be able to continue and push forward, but you have to stare to stay the course.
Mm-hmm. Great, great meeting. Teenage Impact is built off of resiliency. That's why I've done over 55 interviews of people who overcame struggles and were resilient enough to overcome them, overcome all odds, and become successful like yourself. So thank you so much for doing this interview. Ed, where can people find you?
Yeah, I got everything under Ed Latimore. Ed Latimore is
Uh-huh.
my Twitter. Ed Latimore is my Instagram. EdLatimore.com is my website. And Ed Latimore is my Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So come on through.
And join his email list. I'm on his email list too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, then the email list you sign up for right on the website. So there's that.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, brother, for doing this. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend.
Hey, you too, man.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Teenage Impact Podcast. Today we did an interview with Ed Latimore, and I wanted to just do one quick takeaway from interviewing him. The reason why he has a successful brand is because he experienced life. He went out there and tried different activities. He saw what he was good at, what he wasn't good at, what he loved to do, and what he didn't love to do. When he went to college at the age of 18, I know a lot of people try to push you to go to college at the age of 18, but a lot of people are not mentally ready. What he recommends you doing is to try a lot of different things. Go experience life. Go travel. Go being mentored by some other people. Go try activities that you have never tried before. Because soon enough, after experimenting so many different things, you're going to soon realize what you want to do for the rest of your life. You can't expect what you want to do for the rest of your life at 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. You're not ready. You haven't experimented and tried a lot of different things. And that is what I want you to really take away from listening to this podcast, because you can be successful with limited resources and not a lot of money, just like Ed Latimore did. If he can do it, so can you. Thank you for tuning into the Teenage Impact Podcast. If you haven't done so already, follow me on Instagram at Shelomo Solson. My Instagram handle name is in the description. And if you want that 50% discount from my powerful, effective, life-changing online course, Building Resilience 101, message me on Instagram at Shelomo Solson. The discount, 50% discount, is effective until the end of May. So until next time, peace.